So this is our pet lodge or pet hostel where we keep dogs whose owners want to bring them for lodging. So we have some owners that are usually sometimes they are not around to be taking care of their pets, or sometimes they travel. So in such instances, when you bring them here, we will treat them, we will take care of them, and we do everything that is necessary to keep the dog healthy. And then when you return from wherever trip or whatever place you are going to, you just come and take your dog back. So this is our pet hostel where we keep dogs, whereby the owner is unavailable to take care of them. This is our pet bathing station where we bath dogs that have been brought in here to be bathed. So if they are brought in here, this is where we bath them. So this is our surgical theater where we perform our surgical operations. So currently there's an ongoing surgical operation, a cesarean section where a dog is being operated on. So this is our surgical theater. So this is the main entrance to the hospital where when the clients arrive, they will see our receptionist, and then he will take whatever details needs to be taken, and then he will also find out from them what they are coming in for, and then he would come, the person that is the client would then come to the examination room, the triage, and then the details or the vitals will be taken of the patient, and then whatever needs to be done to the patient is done for the patient.
So in the histopathology lab, what we do here is we prepare slides for histological purposes. So normally tissues are brought from the necropsy room. They are brought in plastic cassettes. We take them through process of dehydration. After dehydration, we infiltrate with wax. After infiltrating with wax, then we go ahead to the microtome, we cut them, and then finally we are able to get them on the slides. Then we stain. Then we are able to view under the microscope. So we come with a slide, you put it under the microscope. It's able to project whatever we have under the microscope on the screen. Then from there we are able to make diagnosis and then maybe show to the owner of whatever is brought for us to examine. So from here, it can be projected onto the screen.
So this is the necropsy room. Basically what we do here is if there's a case, maybe there's a mortality, an animal dies, and we want to find out what killed the animal so that we can save the other animals in the group or in the farm, or the other animals owned by the owner. So we bring the animal here. So this is the PM table. Okay, we put the animal on the PM table and we do what we refer to as post-mortem examination. Basically what it involves is we cut open the animal, we look at all the different organs, and then from the lesion pattern that we find, we'll be able to come up with a tentative diagnosis. So by the time we're done with the post-mortem investigation, these are some of the tools that we use. On the table we collect samples from the organs. Okay, like here we have testicles from the donkey that we did the post-mortem here. So we collect samples and fix it in formalin. Okay, because we want to process the samples up to histopathology level so that we can look at it under the microscope.
So this is our isolation unit where we bring dogs that have been diagnosed with conditions that are contagious to other dogs. So we bring those dogs here and then we treat them, and then when they've recovered, we do the necessary procedures or routine therapy, and then we will discharge them appropriately. Then we will also give the owners the appropriate recommendation of how to treat to even handle them after they have even been discharged from. Because for cases like canine parvovirus, even after you've treated them and they've recovered and then they have started eating, they still shed some of the virus in their feces. Okay, so this is our anatomy laboratory where students have the anatomy practicals. So when it is time for their practicals, the cadavers will be brought on the tables and then they will be taken through whatever practical that they are supposed to be taken through. So these rooms over here are wards where we keep hospitalized patients. So we keep them here and then you treat them so they are fully well, and then we'll discharge them when we are done with our therapies. So these are our wards where we keep hospitalized patients. So this is our pet lodge or pet hostel where we keep dogs whose owners want to bring them for lodging. So we have some owners that are usually, sometimes they are not around to be taking care of their pets, or sometimes they travel. So in such instances, when you bring them here, we will treat them, we will take care of them, and we do everything that is necessary to keep the dog healthy. And then when you return from wherever trip or whatever place you are going to, you just come and take your dog back. So this is our pet hostel where we keep dogs, whereby the owner is unavailable to take care of them. This is our pet bathing station where we bath dogs that have been brought in here to be bathed. So if they are brought in here, this is where we bath them. So this is our surgical theater where we perform our surgical operations. So currently there's an ongoing surgical operation, a cesarean section where a dog is being operated on. So this is our surgical theater. So this is the main entrance to the hospital where when the client arrives, they will see our receptionist and then he will take whatever details needs to be taken, and then he will also find out from them what they are coming in for, and then he would come, the person that is, the client will then come to the examination room, the triage, and then the details or the vitals will be taken of the patient, and then whatever needs to be done to the patient is done for the patient.
So in the histopathology lab, what we do here is we prepare slides for histological purposes. So normally tissues are brought from the necropsy room. They are brought in plastic cassettes. We take them through process of dehydration. After dehydration, we infiltrate with wax. After infiltrating with wax, then we go ahead to the microtome, we cut them, and then finally we are able to get them on the slides. Then we stain. Then we are able to view under the microscope. So we come with the slide, you put it under the microscope. It's able to project whatever we have under the microscope on the screen. Then from there we are able to make diagnosis and then maybe show to the owner of whatever is brought for us to examine. So from here it can be projected onto the screen.
So this is the necropsy room. Basically what we do here is if there's a case, maybe there's a mortality, an animal dies, and we want to find out what killed the animal so that we can save the other animals in the group or in the farm, or the other animals owned by the owner. So we bring the animal here. So this is the PM table. Okay, we put the animal on the PM table and we do what we refer to as post-mortem examination. Basically what it involves is we cut open the animal, we look at all the different organs, and then from the lesion pattern that we find, we'll be able to come up with a tentative diagnosis. So by the time we're done with the post-mortem investigation, these are some of the tools that we use. On the table we collect samples from the organs. Okay, like here we have testicles from the donkey that we did the post-mortem here. So we collect samples and fix it in formalin. Okay, because we want to process the samples up to histopathology level so that we can look at it under the microscope.
So this is our isolation unit where we bring dogs that have been diagnosed with conditions that are contagious to other dogs. So we bring those dogs here and then we treat them, and then when they've recovered, we do the necessary procedures or routine therapy, and then we will discharge them appropriately. Then we will also give the owners the appropriate recommendation of how to treat, to even handle them after they have even been discharged. Because for cases like canine parvovirus, even after you've treated them and they've recovered and then they have started eating, they still shed some of the virus in their feces. Okay, so this is our anatomy laboratory where students have the anatomy practicals. So when it is time for their practicals, the cadavers will be brought on the tables and then they will be taken through whatever practical that they are supposed to be taken through. So these rooms over here are wards where we keep hospitalized patients. So we keep them here and then you treat them so they are fully well, and then we'll discharge them when we are done with our therapies. So these are our wards where we keep hospitalized patients. So this is our pet lodge or pet hostel where we keep dogs whose owners want to bring them for lodging. So we have some owners that are usually, sometimes they are not around to be taking care of their pets, or sometimes they travel. So in such instances, when you bring them here, we will treat them, we will take care of them, and we do everything that is necessary to keep the dog healthy. And then when you return from wherever trip or whatever place you are going to, you just come and take your dog back. So this is our pet hostel where we keep dogs, whereby the owner is unavailable to take care of them. This is our pet bathing station where we bath dogs that have been brought in here to be bathed. So if they are brought in here, this is where we bath them. So this is our surgical theater where we perform our surgical operations. So currently there's an ongoing surgical operation, a cesarean section where a dog is being operated on. So this is our surgical theater. So this is the main entrance to the hospital where when the clients arrive, they will see our receptionist and then he will take whatever details needs to be taken, and then he will also find out from them what they are coming in for, and then he would come, the person that is the client will then come to the examination room, the triage, and then the details or the vitals will be taken of the patient, and then whatever needs to be done to the patient is done for the patient.
So in the histopathology lab, what we do here is we prepare slides for histological purposes. So normally tissues are brought from the necropsy room. They are brought in plastic cassettes. We take them through process of dehydration. After dehydration, we infiltrate with wax. After infiltrating with wax, then we go ahead to the microtome, we cut them, and then finally we are able to get them on the slides. Then we stain, then we are able to view under the microscope. So we come with the slide, you put it under the microscope. It's able to project whatever we have under the microscope on the screen. Then from there we are able to make diagnosis and then maybe show to the owner of whatever is brought for us to examine. So from here it can be projected onto the screen.
So this is the necropsy room. Basically what we do here is if there's a case, maybe there's a mortality, an animal dies, and we want to find out what killed the animal so that we can save the other animals in the group or in the farm, or the other animals owned by the owner. So we bring the animal here. So this is the PM table. Okay, we put the animal on the PM table and we do what we refer to as post-mortem examination. Basically what it involves is we cut open the animal, we look at all the different organs, and then from the lesion pattern that we find, we'll be able to come up with a tentative diagnosis. So by the time we're done with the post-mortem investigation, these are some of the tools that we use. On the table we collect samples from the organs. Okay, like here we have testicles from the donkey that we did the post-mortem here. So we collect samples and fix it in formalin. Okay, because we want to process the samples up to histopathology level so that we can look at it under the microscope.
So this is our isolation unit where we bring dogs that have been diagnosed with conditions that are contagious to other dogs. So we bring those dogs here and then we treat them, and then when they've recovered, we do the necessary procedures or routine therapy, and then we will discharge them appropriately. Then we will also give the owners the appropriate recommendation of how to treat to even handle them after they have even been discharged for. Because for cases like canine parvovirus, even after you've treated them and they've recovered and then they have started eating, they still shed some of the virus in their feces. Okay, so this is our anatomy laboratory where students have the anatomy practicals. So when it is time for their practicals, the cadavers will be brought on the tables and then they will be taken through whatever practical that they are supposed to be taken through. So these rooms over here are wards where we keep hospitalized patients. So we keep them here and then you treat them till they are fully well, and then we'll discharge them when we are done with our therapies. So these are our wards where we keep hospitalized patients. So this is our pet lodge or pet hostel where we keep dogs whose owners want to bring them for lodging. So we have some owners that are usually, sometimes they are not around to be taking care of their pets, or sometimes they travel. So in such instances, when you bring them here, we will treat them, we will take care of them, and we do everything that is necessary to keep the dog healthy. And then when you return from wherever trip or
Most of the dentists that we have in Ghana were trained at the University of Ghana Dental School. And then in 2005, the idea of establishing a second dental school in Ghana was discussed at the then College Board of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, College of Health Sciences. And this discussion was started by Professor Peter Donko, Professor Nilai Brown, Dr. Kakari, and others. So in 2006, when the curriculum for the new dental school was agreed upon, so the school started by admitting the first cohort, which was made up of 10 students, six males, and then 4 females. So in 2012, the first batch of the graduates from the KNUST Dental School came out, and most of them are doing very well in Ghana and beyond. So the mission of the school was to be a leading dental school in Africa, in the area of dental education, dental research, and then providing community service to Ghana and then to Africa.
The School of Veterinary Medicine of KNUST was actually born out of a need to train veterinarians locally. Veterinary education had been on since 1920 with the training of technicians in Pont Tamale. And other people who want doctor of veterinary medicine has to travel outside the country, outside these shores, to Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Cuba, Russia, Ukraine, and some to Cuba to get trained and to come back and practice in Ghana. These are through various scholarships and all that. But in 2009, the Veterinary Council of Ghana see the need to produce veterinarians in Ghana. No doubt, the number of veterinary doctors in Ghana was grossly inadequate. Where we need over 10,000, we have less than 150. And that tells us, that's going to tell more on the quality of meat, quality of veterinary services, even pet services, that we have in the country. The Veterinary Council of Ghana approached two universities, University of Ghana, Legon, and also University, KNUST, Kwame Nkrumah, University of Science and Technology. But I must quickly say, they specifically asked KNUST that their aim of veterinary school is to produce one health specialist, specialists who are not just veterinarians, but will help in pandemics control in future. And for that reason, KNUST in their wisdom, through the Vice Chancellor, then Professor Otto Ellis, decided to place the School of Veterinary Medicine in the College of Health Sciences. This is unique. Why? Because KNUST, having the School of Veterinary Medicine in the College of Health Sciences, position KNUST, College of Health Sciences, as a college for One Health drive, and is the only one in Africa as of today. Makerere is doing something like that, but not in the form of which KNUST has started. And the school, the three foundation members were Professor Raphael Deladem Fulichi, who happened to be the founding dean, and also Professor Tony Okpoko Ajumani. And the third one is Dr. Joseph Atawana. Professor Fulichi is retired now, but is still a member of staff on contract. So also Professor Tony Okpoko Ajumani, who retired not only as an associate professor of anatomy, but also as the vice dean of the school. These three people used their initiative to think of a better infrastructural facilities needed to propagate the One Health focus. And for that, they visited South Africa and got a template of how the design of the veterinary teaching hospital and the faculty of veterinary medicine I should look like. I always say, if I happen to be the founding dean, I might not think in that direction, because I will be thinking, let's start small and grow. But they have that massive thinking, and that was what gave birth to the infrastructure that we have in terms of building, which is first of its kind in the West African sub-region. It has a small animal clinic, which is massive. In fact, it looks like an human hospital. Then we also have the large animal hospital. We also have a shared facility, and at the back, we'll be able to build a 3-story building with research laboratory in place. And at the far back is where the student hostel will be. So this is a master plan for it.
This is a KNUST School of Medicine and Dentistry documentary.
We've done so far a decade now, and we've been able to train over 250 dentists in Ghana. As I said, some of them are working in Ghana, others are working in different institutions outside this country. So the future, currently we have the two schools. There's a merger of the medical school and then the dental school, which has affected the current development of dentistry from KNUST. But there is also a new proposal where the schools will now go on their separate ways. And we believe that in future, we should be able to admit more students, especially the foreign trained from the foreign countries, okay, because dentistry is capital, in training a dentist is quite it's quite capital intensive. So you need the foreigners to also bring in their dollars so that you can use that to subsidize the cost of training a Ghanaian dentist. So when we are able to have our own separate school, we believe that we can increase the admission, we can increase the quality of training that we are giving to the students, and we believe that we can also get more faculty, because currently the full-time staff of the school is not quite encouraging. And we believe that when we have our separate school, we can grow in that direction. We are also encouraging more, our faculty to be interested in collaborative research. And we believe that this is the way that we can equip ourselves in terms of the training and then the teaching, which will also translate down to the quality of training that we give to our students. We believe that once we are able to do that, students are doing well, our products are doing well, then they will be recognized wherever that they find themselves. And that will go a long way to project the good image of the university to attract more students to come and study here. So we are not just interested in becoming like a local champion in terms of dental education. We are also thinking about becoming globally competitive so that we can attract a lot of students from other countries, and also to promote research and let people know the kind of oral diseases, oral conditions that we have in Ghana and Africa.
Hello. Hi, good morning. I understand the snack is not has not been shared yet, but we can impress the provost. He is in our midst by responding to the greetings appropriately. Hello, good morning to you all. Okay. The problem is from those at the back, and we see you. We can take back our chits for the snack. Hello, good morning to you all. All right, so you're welcome to the second day of the College of Health Science Postgraduate Conference, and today we will have some activities lined up for your benefit. One of the things we will start with will be a panel discussion, which has a central theme on career development and capacity building. And so we hope that you will make the best of this experience. I'd like to encourage you all to note down your questions. We will not be able to take all questions from everyone. The room is almost full, but I can assure you that there will be gender equality and all the others in between. And so please pay attention, and we would encourage as much as possible movements that could wait, especially during the sessions. Unlike others, for this, it's always distracting when you see people moving around, and this will be captured on camera. So thanks for your time. My name is Anthony, and I'll be moderating this morning's session. I'll be joined by my colleague, who has excused herself to attend to an emergency, and when she comes, we will introduce her as well. So before we kickstart, we would like to say a word of prayer, and to do this, just a moment, sorry. We will start with a word of prayer, and to do this, we have in our midst Reverend Mrs. Lorraine Salah to give us the opening prayer. Please, let's welcome her with a round of applause.
Thank you very much. Please, may we be upstanding for the prayer. Good morning to you all. Our God of grace and glory, we honor you this morning and have come with a heart of thanksgiving. We ask you for your wisdom, your guidance, and support as we begin this second day of our conference. May you favor us with your presence and pour out your Holy Spirit to open our minds and our hearts to enable us build on what each and every one of us would have to take home from these proceedings. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to grow as students and be useful to our institution and the nation at large. Heavenly Father, be with us to the end of the day. Take charge, Lord. We bless you for an answered prayer through Jesus Christ, your Son. Amen.
You may be seated. Thank you very much, Reverend Mrs. Lorraine. We would like to acknowledge the Provost for the College of Health Sciences, Professor Christian Ajari. Please, let's give him a round of applause. And we'd like to also acknowledge the chairman for the the planning committee for this conference in the person of Professor Alexander Deborah. Please, let's acknowledge him. A few announcements to take note of. Students should ensure they do biometric registration for their 2 days registration. This is needed for your certificates, and so it is important that if you've not done that yet, you do your biometric registration, without which you would not get your certificate. Now, the awards will be given for Best Poster and Oral Presentations. Someone just said that, oh, but I should have said it early. Assessment is still ongoing, and because of that, please take note that the poster presenters should be by their posters at the snack break. So you want to go to your poster as soon as possible during the snack break. You don't know who will be passing by, and it's important that you answer questions when people have concerns and questions about your talk, and this will be included in the assessment. So participants should use their coupons for snack and lunch. Please, when you registered, you were given coupons, and so you are required to use this for the snack and the lunch, and so when you go, you present to them to get your snack and lunch. There will be an important seminar at 2 p.m. at the college boardroom, referring to the College of Health Sciences boardroom. And so when we close from here, students are highly encouraged to please go and join the seminar that is ongoing at the college boardroom. We will be inviting our panelists to take up their seats facing the audience and to begin the discussion. And to do this, let me make sure I have not missed anything yet. We will have to do the purpose of gathering. And to do this will be Dr. Alex Ofori. Also Ofori, please let us welcome him as he...
Thank you very much, Tony. I'm very excited, and on behalf of the provost and my chairman, I want to welcome you once again. I've been looking forward to this day, and I'm glad it's here. Mostly because maybe I should also be thinking about whether I should be diverting my career. When I had an aunt visiting me, I wanted to go to the hospital, and I said, oh, I'm now at KNUST. I said, oh, where's Dr. Diekodi teacher? And that resonated. You know, in Ghana, they always say that, oh, who did the teacher kakra? Unye juma pebia. So some of you may be thinking, what have I gotten myself into? This PhD, so I'm going to be a lecturer, or what, you know. Half of you may be confused, and we don't want you to be confused. We want you to begin to identify the areas where you are going. So this morning, we've put together a very eminent team that you can easily identify with, and we hope that all your questions and potential questions and future thinking and everything will be answered this morning. So that is the purpose for this morning. Later on in the day, we will do our scientific presentations, which have been excellent so far, and we are looking forward to it later this morning. I'm particularly excited because I have a classmate among this group And I didn't know he had all these ideas. If he had told me by now, maybe I would have. But, you know, he has done very well and will be listening to all of them today. So I wish you a very pleasant, wonderful, engaging, intriguing morning. And we hope that by the end of the day, we would have achieved our purpose for this morning. Thank you very much.
The conference organizers acknowledge the world we live in and the importance to be doing multiple things at the same time. And so when they put together this panel, they chose people who, from their profile, are able to do so much at the same time. And we hope that in the discussions, they'll be able to help unravel the mystery behind doing this. This information is important because some of you are already gainfully employed and came to school for perhaps as a requirement for a promotion. Others are just bored and looking for other opportunities to explore elsewhere. And so regardless of which, and of course, there are some of you who are waiting for your big break, and so whilst waiting and putting in applications, you are whiling away time with postgraduate education. We can all pretend that it's not the case, but reality will humble us all. So regardless of which category you fall into, there is something for everybody here, and we hope that these discussions will guide you and set you on the right path. I am happy to introduce my co-moderator who is here, a clinician who is pursuing a postgraduate education. Please let us welcome Ms. Abina Tiwa Mensah. Sorry. She will be introducing the panelists for today.
Thank you very much. I would like to introduce our first panelist, Dr. Lord Anthony Basin, to join us on the stage. So Dr. Basin is a scientist, engineer, innovator, and entrepreneur. He is a lecturer at the Department of Medical Diagnostics, KNUST, and also the founder and CEO of Incas Diagnostics, a biotech company in Ghana, which develops and manufactures point-of-care tests specifically for African markets. He has had many awards from 2017 up until 2021, including things pertaining to COVID-19. Our second panelist is Dr. Kofi Akohene-Mensah. Can you please join us on stage? Dr. Akohene, as we all know, is a lecturer and an expert in health policy and health services management. His years of experience as a senior lecturer at the Department of Health Policy, Management and Economics at the School of Public Health has contributed immensely to the successful training of hundreds of undergraduate and postgraduate students. Kofi has served as a head of his department and is currently the head of Department of Occupational and Environmental Health and Safety. Dr. Akohene has also had exceptional coordination skills and has led the implementation of several impactful community-based interventions to improve health outcomes in underserved communities. Next on our panel list is Dr. Andrew Kusi Apia. Please, can you join us? Dr. Apia is a veterinary surgeon who has been practicing since 1993. He has his basic education at Dunkwal, Nkwanta Roman Catholic School. From there, he gained admission to Nkwanta Secondary School for his O-level, then to Adisadel College for A-level after. After which he went to the Institute of Veterinary Medicine. He is he took a bold decision to start his own business, Medivet, a veterinary company which is into importation of veterinary pharmaceuticals, poultry equipment, feed, and day-old chicks. Medivet also provides veterinary consultation services to all his clients. Next is Dr. George Asafueje Frimpong, popularly known as Spectra. Dr. Asafueje is a senior lecturer and also the head of radiology department, School of Medicine and Dentistry, KNUST. He's the chief executive of Spectra Health and Spectra Technologies Research Labs, and he serves as the board chairman for Spectra Health Mutual Insurance. In addition, he's also a fellow of the German Board of Radiology. Last is Madame Monica Nkoma. Can you please join us? So Madame Monica is also a nurse or a midwife educator with over 30 years of professional experience in nursing and midwifery. She's currently the principal of Holy Family Nursing and Midwifery Training College, Brekum, a position she has held since 2006. Prior to her assumption of position, she served as the vice principal and academic coordinator for 2 years, where she assisted the principal in running the college and managed the nursing department. Okay, so we have one last panelist. He won't be able to join us here in person, but he'll be joining us via Zoom. So we would like to welcome Dr. Anthony K. Ejapon. Okay, so he is also a pharmacist, entrepreneur, and educationalist in Ghana. He is an alumni of Pope John's Secondary and Junior Seminary, Koforidua. He graduated the B Form from KNUST in 2005 and has since influenced pharmaceutical industry in Ghana. He has wealth of experience from serving as a pharmacist at the Police Hospital, NS Chemist, and then Kena Pharma, all in Accra. Through hard work, diligence, and passion to transform the pharmaceutical sector in Ghana, he started his own company, which has now become a formidable brand in the pharmaceutical sector in Ghana. And then he's also currently pursuing a doctorate degree in pharmacy. Thank you.
All right. So are we good to start? I need your feedback. Are we good to start? All right. So you are all welcome to the panel discussion, and we hope that you'll be able to share some of your intimate secrets to your career development, and we all benefit from there. The first question, and I'd like to ask all the panelists, and so maybe when I ask the question, we will start from my right. Looking back, have you found conferences to be helpful? Is there one key story or experience from scientific conference that may have contributed to your career? Usually in most higher educational institutions in Ghana, there is not a lot of promotion for conference attendance for students. And so it is rather the exception to be able to attend a conference if you are a postgraduate student. And you are lucky to be in an environment your supervisor recommends or someone recommends. And so having started like this as a college where we do encourage all our postgraduates to have the kind of exposure and experience, do you guys think this is helpful? Can you look back on your life and see at a point where a conference you attended was beneficial to you, somehow exposed you to ideas and connections, collaborators? I think we'll pass the microphone.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank KNUST for this opportunity for me to be part of this panel. Looking back, as a health professional, and as I started my journey, in the institutions I've been attending, they organize seminars. And most of the time, experts are invited. They come, they share their experiences, and through that, I'm able to align with them and get personal contacts, depending on my interest, because I quite remember I had interest after nursing. I said, no, I want to specialize in midwifery. So we had some obstetricians from the Netherlands that came and organized a seminar for us. And through that, I had deepened understanding more about the midwifery profession, and it made me to love the profession so much. So I would say yes, seminars are good. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Definitely, seminars, conferences are key to our development and of our expertise. It fosters networking, and I have personally benefited many times. Actually, there's a policy that every year, at least, I attend at least not less than 3, whether it's local or international. And the reason is that is where you get to learn from best practices, where you are able to now inform what you do locally within your environment. And there's few things that I've done, particularly in my area of radiology. We started imaging prostate in a very specific way for cancers, for prostate cancer imaging for prostate. And what we realized was that there's a new technology that was developing, and we're able to pick it up from a conference I went to in the US, and now is one of the best practices that we are using for the whole country in terms of prostate cancer staging. So I think that in terms of the value, is indispensable. We need it. Otherwise, you will be in your own small shell, and you think that you are doing everything what's supposed to be done, and you will most likely be wrong. So definitely conferences we want to continue to do. Thank you.
Thank
you. And thank you very much. For me, I think that every conference I have attended, I have always come out with something that has had an impact. I'll just give you just one or two. In 2011, I attended I think it was College of Health Sciences, I don't know, but it was a conference at the Great Hall. Yeah, it was at the Great Hall. And it was, people did lots of presentations. But I remember very well Dr. Jaku Puku. I think he was at Suntreso at the time, the STI clinic. He gave a presentation about syndromic management of STIs. And I asked the question why they didn't do any tests. And his response was that the tests were unavailable and they were not accessible. That was the beginning of my interest in diagnostics. Because I was like, why? I mean, STI is very common, so why are there no diagnostics for STIs? And so all my interest in developing diagnostics stemmed from that particular conference held here at KNUST in 2011. That is the first thing. The second one, in 2013, I had the opportunity to present a paper at the American Society for Microbiology's scientific conference in the US. There again, after my presentation, I got approached by somebody that asked me whether I was interested in being an ASM ambassador to Ghana, because at the time they were starting something called the ASM Young Ambassador, and they didn't have anybody for Ghana. And since I was from Ghana and I had done a presentation, they were interested in, would I be interested in doing something like that? Of course, I said yes. And that also changed my life, because I got the opportunity to interact with so many students talking about opportunities in microbiology. And interacting with students, I got to know a lot of the things that I felt students wanted. So I wrote a very long proposal talking about setting up certain things. I got funding for it. And that's how my grant writing skills started. I started writing grants and all of that just to be able to help train students or encourage students to go into microbiology. So these are just two examples, but every single conference I have been, I have always come away with something that has impacted my life. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that conferences, seminars are very key. You know, if you look at our part of the world, that is in Africa, Ghana, and one of the things that is impeding health system strengthening is access to finance or asset funding. Now, through conferences, you can identify potential collaborators. And once you identify potential collaborators, you can break this barrier. Now, I have benefited from conferences, seminar before I joined the university, and during the time I was also joined the university. Now, before I joined the university, you know, there was a seminar in Dubai where I represented my institution in that seminar. And at that seminar, there were a lot of funding agencies who came for that summit in Dubai. You know, so we had the opportunity to share, tell them what we are doing and where we want to go. You know, and through that, we identify one of the investors, financing investor, that called Abraj. I don't know whether you've heard of that. Now, out of that summit, we were able to get to the tune of about $6 million. Funding from Abraj for us to undergo business expansion and that. If you have not attended that summit, we wouldn't have had that kind of opportunity from Abraj. Even just recent, that's my recent year I have to, in the court, just this thing I'm going to tell you is not about, it's not even up to less than 2 months now. You know, there was a seminar where we did some data collection on delivery costs on this typhoid vaccine conjugates. And we have one of them, one of the people coming from, United States, Washington, who is also a health economist in that area, a technical advisor to Taiviga. You know, when the person came and we did the presentation and that, through knowledge sharing and those kind of things, at the end of it, what the technical advisor to Taiviga asked me, Kofi, are you interested in doing research in cancer, especially in the area of cost? And I said, yes, of course, I'm interested, because, I mean, it's similar to that. And that opportunity came, and immediately he left, he started engaging me. And now, they've actually gone far, as far as the proposal is concerned. Now he has added me to the proposal. And this opportunity actually came out of this seminar. So I think that it's very, very important to engage yourself in conferences and seminars.
Well, thank you very much. I don't know whether it is by act of God's design, like the veterinary profession is new in this school. That's the, if I'm not mistaken, maybe the last college that you have, the School of Veterinary Medicine, the KNUST. And being from the veterinary fraternity, it's like talking last on this. It's very coincidence. Yeah, for veterinary profession, the conferences that we have, these are annual conferences because we're not many. So that's the only time we have the opportunity to interact with senior vets. The first conference I attended was in 1994 in Sunyani, because where I was trained, I saw only 6 students who were my seniors. So I was wondering what profession am I in. But at that conference, I saw people of caliber. Then I got convinced that after all, I'm not in the bad profession. At the same conference, I saw exhibitors, pharmaceutical companies. So I had interaction with them, with senior vets, how the practice is at the countryside. then these pharmaceutical companies, and I can tell you that conference helped me to shape my course of thinking as to what I would do after my national service. And it's not surprising that I find myself in what I'm doing now. So conferences are really important.
All right. So thank you very much. We have our final panelist online. We will take a submission from Anthony as well.
Morning, and thank you for good morning, and thank the organizers of this program for such a wonderful event. I think for conferences, they are very impactful. The Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, which is the umbrella body of pharmacists, organizes conferences annually. And when these conferences are organized, you need to meet or encounter senior colleague pharmacists who inspires the youth. And you also begin to analyze and see people who are in the industry who have made great impact in the pharmacy profession. I personally, there was a conference in 2009 that I attended where there were seminars or short sections on how to start your business. And I think I took a lot of inspiration from that. And that also led me to establish PharmaTrust, pharmacy as an organization. On the international stage, I've also gone for conferences whereby I begin to realize that the big names, the big organizations who are making impact globally in pharmaceuticals invariably are ordinary people like us, or are people that in one way or the other, with the right environment, with the right attitude, we in the sub-Saharan Africa will be able to also make a much better impact in our communities. And I think these are great things that we need to keep on doing. And let me thank the organizers of this program to keep such events happening, especially at the universities, so that the youth and the people out there will begin to see some of these conferences at impacts and things that will lead them in their career as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Anthony. We would like to acknowledge the Dean for the School of Public Health who is here in the person of Professor Sam Newton. Prof. Welcome. Please, I know that most of you are quite experienced in real life, even own businesses, are astute researchers with more experience than some of us could ever imagine. And so we also throw the questions at you. If you have a very interesting experience you'd like to share, especially the faculty, if there's contribution, you can just take note of it. We will come to that point where we will invite submissions, questions, and comments, and you would have the opportunity to share with us what your experiences have been, or if you have any questions for any of the panelists or for all of them, we will take note of that as well. The next question I'd like to ask also goes to all the panelists. And the question simply is, I have had the opportunity to work with different people, clinicians, lab team, field team workers, nurses. We see employers sometimes disappointed in the caliber of people they hire, that they came highly recommended, but they are not able to deliver. And you see the frustration with people who are finding it difficult to fire people and have made peace with the fact that these people that work with us are liabilities, or they are not there yet. Sometimes, by the time they get there, somebody else with big money and bigger pockets poaches them from you. The question I'd like to ask the panelists, in your experience as educationists, as health workers, as entrepreneurs, wherever you've done in consulting, in research, as PIs, what are employers looking for? What are the things that you want to see in your teammates that will make you want to keep working with them, keep collaborating with them? What are the things that you hope to be able to get in employees that perhaps beyond the conventional classroom training, they may not be able to get there? It is nice that these people here want to be able to get to where you are or do better than you are doing. And they want to know what employers are looking for so they can make themselves attractive. And so this time I will start from my... It's only fair. Good. What are you looking for? Because the employees also get frustrated. They don't know what to do. What are you guys looking for?
Well, I will have, thank you very much. I will talk specifically towards my area of practice as a vet in private practice. I do a lot of sales. So before I hire someone, one, the work is more technical. So I expect that the person must have technical knowledge of veterinary medicine, because you can attest to the fact that in Ghana we don't have pharmacies or veterinary pharmacies. So the work of a veterinary pharmaceutical is done by veterinarians themselves. So I want to hire someone who has a deep knowledge of veterinary medicine, who can understand what the farmer presents, the problem, be able to prescribe, and make sure that treatment is followed according to plan, so that the results are attained. So to do that, you need someone who is really committed, who might be sincere and honest. Because we've had cases where, because of the craze for money, a farmer comes and the person just decides to sell anything, knowing very well that what he's prescribing is not the right medicine for the disease condition that is being described. But if integrity is there, you should be able to do the right thing and get the good result, because it's only through that you'll be recommended by other people, then the work can proceed. So for employers, I think we look for people who are hardworking, have team players, sincerity should be there, and honesty. I think that is it. Then we'll be able to move forward. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for this question. To me, I think that employers are looking for the right person for the right job. We want to promote specialization. We don't want to put a square peg in a round hole. Right person for the right job. Now, if I employ the right person for the right job, I expect certain things from you, because you are a specialty in that area. That's why you have employed for that job. One, we expect productivity. Now, productivity is a broad area, and I will only talk about one aspect of productivity. Because once for instance, if I employ you, I give you your job description. I will walk you through your job description, and you are supposed to get your target. So in this case, I'm expecting you to report on me per your target. And mostly your target is broken down. It's a whole yearly target, but it's broken down on quarterly basis. This is what I expect from you to do on this quarterly basis. So per your target, which have been assigned to you, if you are not able to deliver or achieve per your target, especially for those in the private sector, we think that the impression is that you are throwing your money away. The person is taking your money, but it's not giving you the return. So I will see to it that in as much as I'm paying you, I must also get the return. What is the productivity bit? So once you are unable to deliver or give me the desired results, then it can start creating that issues. And if you don't take care, then obviously it will be, we say bye-bye to ourselves. Now, the other bit beyond the productivity is you also want someone who is very, very creative and someone who is proactive. Now, if you are working with an employee and always you have to drive the employee like you are driving your car, no initiative, it looks so furious, it gets furious. So you are also interested in someone who will think outside the box. Someone whom you are there always can even come to you and discuss ideas, suggestions. It's not like someone you always have to pour your ideas and suggestions to that person. So creativity, proactive, and the initiative is also a very key thing we look for once you want to, we are working with any staff or an employee. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I associate largely with what my co-panelists have said. I think that the major thing is attitude. When it comes to qualifications, I think all of us, before you employ somebody, you go through their qualifications, you know that they are very, very qualified. At Incas Diagnostics, we have about 37 staff that are divided into technical and administrative. I'm going to talk about the technical because that's where most of us here fit into. For technical, you don't do sales and all of that, so we are not expecting that aspect. But we expect that you would develop tests. And one of the things that I have found out is that you can have somebody highly recommended with first class, and the person wants to follow instructions. The person wants to come, and the person wants you to tell him or her what to do. Okay? And for me, that is a point of frustration, because I also expect you to think outside the box, as he said. And when the person feels like, oh, anything the person wants to do, you are like, go read about it and come and tell me, then the person basically slacks, as in, the person will come to work and then go home, come to work and go home. So I think that attitude is a very important thing that you need to add to your qualifications. You can have a PhD. If you don't have the right attitude, you will not progress, basically. So that is where I'll leave it at. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the question. For me, being a health training institution and training nurses and midwives, what I look for is somebody who has the knowledge, the skills, and then the attitude. Because this is why the students are with us. We need to train the mind, the skills, and then with the attitude, the right hand, so that we can take care of our patients. And above all, I want staff who have the integrity, team player, who have the passion, so that they could model the students to be the great professionals that we want. Thank you.
I cannot, well. I can associate well with what my co-panelists have already said. I think that usually at interviews, we look for the finest CV to drive, and it can be a disappointment sometimes. People come with fine CV, and sometimes I read that people actually go for people to write their CVs for them to look good. But after the first line, you realize that this is not it. I think personally what I look at is the attitude of the person, the passion for excellence, honesty, and hard work. Sometimes you pick an employee and you realize that he doesn't actually know anything. And I've realized that with our radiography group, we pick them after school, and they don't know anything. Practically, unfortunately, you train them 1.5 years, 2 years, and they leave you for the UK. So I find myself always picking new people and training them for the UK, which is very sad. In the process, I come across many types of personalities. And I think what the people that I want to enjoy working with are those who will show the passion for the work that they do, and they are truthful. The attitude, we need it, and usually they will generally go far. When you have somebody who is not innovative and is just laid back, I keep saying that you can be the best brain. If you don't have passion for work, you will not excel. You will just be there. But the passion for excellence to succeed is important, and you can always tell who is the right person to keep and try to keep. As I said, unfortunately, they keep leaving. We'll keep training. Thank you.
And the cycle continues.
Okay, so we will ask Mr. Japon to join us and also give a comment on the question on the floor.
I think what the other panelists have said is brilliant. But one main thing that sums it all is resource-oriented individuals. If you are innovative, if you are creative, at the end of the day, the resource, which is the collective sum of your productivity, should tell. And like one colleague said, after the tertiary education, during the tertiary education, we all do projects in one way or the other. It means that we find new ways of doing things, or we do a research in one way or the other to confirm a certain findings. When you get on the job market, at the end of the day, the projects that you do should tease your ability to think outside the box, like we all do in research. And employers are looking for people who will be able to do do things in a way that will improve the existing performance of the organization. And I think that is why almost all people put on their CV, I'm results oriented. At the end of the day, putting it on your CV and translating it on the job market is where a lot of people are found wanting. And I think every entrepreneur, every employer will be happy with an employee whose results is above what he expects. So I think that is what the technocrats out there should look out for. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So my question is to Dr. Sofoji. I think most of you talked about the fact that we are supposed to be skilled, competent, and then had some job descriptions for us. But most of us finish school with, especially after the tertiary education, with little to no knowledge at all. And so I wanted to ask how we can incorporate, what do you think we can incorporate in our education system that will help us acquire the skills we need to qualify for these jobs that you're talking about?
I believe that our whole training from nursery school to tertiary care is to make us competent for what we do in the future. Nobody or no employer expects that you finish school and you come to the workplace and you're supposed to deliver like you've been there for 30 years. No. But as I said, you are brilliant. You have the good attitude, the right attitude for work. That is an initial attraction. For employers, our role is also to train you. And that is why for most institutions, there's continuous training. You train locally, you send you outside to help beef up the system and for us to be more proficient. I don't know whether currently we run any courses in entrepreneurship or business as part of our training. In medical school, we never had anything like that. I don't think it's still there. But I think that that is something that if we can have maybe a curriculum, maybe 1 or 2 lectures, or maybe forum like this, ongoing, so that people will know that, okay, while I can be employed, but I can also employ soon after school. What we put in here for particularly our postgraduate work is supposed to inform industry. And I feel that as we continue to develop our what we do in our various projects, we should not always look at the fact that you want to be employed. I think that we should also look at we being the employer, even straight after school. And it is possible. It's very possible. From my own experience, when I came back from Germany, I didn't have anything. I mean, nothing. But I knew that I wanted to do what I'm doing now. And I put in a lot of work. I'm still working. And somehow it works. I think that when you have a goal that you want to do this, that is when you see opportunities. If there's no goal, you have the opportunity right in front of you and you will not see it. So back to your question, for what you are trained to do, I'm sure most people here, once you put in the effort at school, you already know. And you can actually be an employer yourself soon after school. It is possible. Thank you.
Sorry, I have a follow-up question. Maybe I'll make Anthony answer. Sorry, Bassing. Answer this question. Everybody keeps saying that go outside the box. First of all, why is the box there? Who owns the box? What is in the box? And if we don't have to go into the box, then take it from there. Why has the box lost its relevance? Are we now supposed to do in life without the box? If not the case, why are we being advised to think outside the box when you put the box there?
This is a very good question. And incidentally, I was just discussing with Lorraine just this morning about multidisciplinary training, right? One of the challenges that I find with the box is that most of the time we are trained to think one way. So I am a microbiologist, so everything is microbiology. When I am in WhatsApp groups with different people in a STEM-related WhatsApp group, and most of the time when we are talking about solutions to education, the IT people think that everything should be IT, and that if we introduce IT everywhere, it will solve all problems. Then those who are into AI will tell you that no, AI is the solution. It is because you've been taught to think that where your circumstance is, that is where the solution is. However, where the world is going, you need to think outside that your immediate area. And that is where the problem, the major problem is. I give an example of the fact that I train as a microbiologist. And as a microbiologist, I had the opportunity to go and do biomedical engineering. And I was doing the same program with people who were pure biomedical engineers. And one of the advantage that I had over people who were doing pure biomedical engineering was the fact that I knew microbiology. Because you are developing a medical device for, say, malaria. And we worked on an HIV kit, so let me use HIV for instance. And because I had intimate knowledge of HIV, I knew about the pathogen. Sometimes you go for a meeting and people are talking about doing certain things, and you are sitting there and you're like, no, the pathogen, I mean, what you're doing will not work. You get the point. And when you raise those suggestions, they see that, oh yeah, it's true. And so over a short time, then everybody starts to look up to you, and then you become the natural leader of whatever team it is, because you have intimate knowledge in what you are talking about. And then once you're able to come out with a device that is very good and everybody sees that it is a device that works, then all eyes are on you, you get other opportunities, and you move forward. So I think that probably, yes, I keep using microbiology because that's where I am. Yes, you could be doing a master's in microbiology right now, or a master's or a PhD in microbiology, or a master's in something else. But you need to also, that's why you have phones. And I've always said that one of the principles that I learned very early on is to learn something new every day. If every day you decide that I'm going to learn something I didn't know about in an area that I'm not familiar with, a year you would have learned 365 new things. So in your work, as you learn, you might be talking to a pharmacist, and the pharmacist says something. Just go and Google it and read about it. And sometimes you read about it, you realize that, okay, I am really interested in this. You find something else, and you keep reading. Within a short time, you are knowledgeable in so many areas that you start getting opportunities, because people are actually looking for individuals that are multi-talented and know quite a number of things, and not just the area that they are in. So yes, I agree with you. I think we have to take out the box and throw it away, and just allow people to explore without the box. I think that is where we need to go going forward.
Just so we are clear and I don't lose my job, you are saying that the provost should not fire me. People like me should still be hired and promoted to deliver the content of the box, but without the box.
Yes, that's actually what I'm saying. Yes.
Okay. Hopefully I still have my job after this session. So I want to just pick on, it was interesting that you mentioned multidisciplinarity, because that was my next question, and I think it would be important if we were able to ask all the panelists this question. Now, beyond, do you believe, Anthony, I think we will skip you for this one. Do you believe the way forward is multidisciplinarity? Is this something we should incorporate in our training? Now, we would acknowledge that the educational system is somehow set in stone to focus on disciplines, and there is a very good justification for that. So until such a time that we are able to create a hybrid program that is able to formalize multidisciplinary training, especially here in resource-limited setting, what can we do? What can faculty do? What can the students themselves do to take full advantage of multidisciplinary training to advance themselves and make themselves more attractive to employers and opportunities. We will start with Anthony on Zoom to make his submission, and we will continue from here.
I think students need to be exposed to a lot of real certain situations at the job market. And I think I want to commend the College of Health Science, that's the pharmacy department. Almost every semester break, they encourage the interns or the students to take some kind of internship in community pharmacy and hospital pharmacy. I personally usually precept some of these students. And recently I employed 3 pharmacists, out of which there were one had actually been around on about 4 different instances. And there were 2 who were not regular. You could clearly tell that the one who had done some kind of community internship about 4 times throughout the training was far ahead of the 2. And it took about close to a year or 2 for the 2 others to come up to expectation as far as I'm concerned. So I think bridging academia with industry, especially during their training, is very, very key. I do admit that there are challenges to get that done because students want their vacations to get 1 or 2 things done. But I want to actually advocate that at the university level, especially for the professional courses, we should make it mandatory, at least, if not for every semester, maybe every other semester break, because they begin to appreciate that the dispensing, the extemporaneous preparations and those things they are doing at the faculty is not just for marks. It is something that practically happens on the field to save lives. And I think it is one great area that all the departments, engineering, and almost all the departments, you get the students to have real industry exposure. And it sustains the input. And it builds their confidence. And I have reason to believe that it will even improve their academic fortunes at the university. Thank you.
I will add that multidisciplinary approach is something that we need. I always tend to like the way the US do their training. If you want to do medicine, you don't start straight medicine. You do anything. You can do your arts, do your sciences, do history before you do your medicine. Same goes for law as well as other professional groups. And the experience is that the exposure to life, work, is much more enriched. Here we have a different approach to it, all well and good. As my colleague said, it is important that we don't limit it just into our space. We should be able to have exposures in other disciplines, particularly if we're able to encourage our students in between semesters, having attachments in areas where it's not really within their core programming. It's helpful because you have a wider approach to life, and you learn and you learn. And usually it's what you know that makes you. So there's nothing like small learning. Everything is important. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. For us, nurses and midwives, as part of our training, we learn pharmacology, and students go on clinicals. They are attached to the pharmacy. So they learn some chemistry, how to make soap and the rest. So students, currently my students, we don't buy this liquid soap, and they produce that for us to use. Besides that, the midwifery students to do what we call domiciliary midwifery, whereby they move into the communities and they work with private midwives. So after school, they don't have to wait for the government to employ them, and they are able to start their own maternity homes. Thank you.
Okay, he says I should say something.
So, okay, I think that it will start with us as lecturers. When we do not collaborate with people in other departments or other colleges, we do not teach the students that it is okay to collaborate with other people or to learn other things. I think that is what we need to start doing. If you have a study and the study is such that you need somebody from chemistry, I think that it's best if you collaborate with somebody from chemistry. That way, your student who, again, I'm going to use microbiology. It's not personal, but so your student who is doing probably a master's in microbiology will get to learn something in chemistry, and that way that person will begin to look at problems in 360 and not necessarily just from the way it is. So I think that is one of the things we need to do. Even as lecturers, we need to start collaborating with people outside the College of, even within the College of Health Sciences. I'm doing some work with people in vet, and sometimes, well, let me here. Let me be very diplomatic. But sometimes collaboration, even among ourselves in College of Health Sciences, is a bit difficult, and it's not something we want to do a lot. And I think that probably we can start with ourselves, but we should also think about doing it with the university. I think it helps a lot. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think a multidisciplinary or multisectorial approach is the way to go. And first, I will applaud the provost and the college management. I mean, what we are seeing now is an example of that. Because this is a college conference. And for the college conference, I believe we brought people from different faculties. And we don't expect that you come here and sit here, just isolate yourself. Then once we are done, you go. Then you come back. We expect that you socialize among yourself. In the form of socialization, one day, some of you will be working with the industries, become a big men in the industries. Some of you will work in the research institutions. Then we expect that you work together. Because the current state whereby the industries are on their own, the research institutions are on their own, are not actually promoting this kind of multidisciplinary approach. So I think that it has to start from here today. Once we end the first session with the break time, we don't expect the public health residents to be mingled among themselves. We expect that you interact among yourselves. In a way, you are starting that multidisciplinary approach from here. Now, another thing I also applaud the college management is the recent retreat or the recent the capacity building they had for the faculty within the college. What is the problem-based learning? Because the problem-based learning also promotes this kind of approach. Because we need to identify the problem together, like my colleague just said, and that's why most of the times we find it difficult to win grants. Because in the identification of the problem, if you only address it from public health perspective, the meaning that you have not resolved the problem completely. The problem is still hanging. Because the engineering part is there, the other, the social science part is there. But if we work together as a team, then we are talking about this multidisciplinary approach. In this case, whoever is supposed to give you the money will be happy about that than going solo. So the solo doesn't promote this kind of multidisciplinary approach. Then the first speaker who spoke on this too, I also like that, the industrial attachment. But not just the industrial attachment. The feedback from the industry is also very, very key. And how we are going to apply or how we are going to input the feedback from the industry into our curriculum. So that I don't know which we are training people who fit the system. Because if they go for the industrial attachment, and we don't integrate the feedback from the industry into that, that means that we continue to train them the way it is. And they will come and it's like that. It like most health professionals, especially, let me use especially, it happens among the doctors. It happens, excuse me to use that word. I mean, now things are changing. We are talking about modern medicine. Now, in modern medicine, it's different from the traditional medicine. Now, if you look at the traditional medicine, we are part of what we call paternalism. Once you talk about paternalism, it's a Greek word, it comes from the word paterna, father, where the health professional was seeing himself as the master, then the clients are the servant. The client has no say. Who dares you to tell the doctor that I think I'm having malaria? Some of the doctors will even walk you out of their consulting room. How do you, if you know your problem, why are you coming here? And do we have a training or a course in our medical education who's able to change or tell the doctor that that kind of way of doing things is archaic, it's gone. So if we are doing that, you are colo. But it happens that the modern ones who are coming, they are still following that trend, that kind of paternalism. But now modern, we are talking about autonomy, where patient has a say in his or her treatment. And all these things also boil down to, changing people's attitude. And attitudinal change is also part of having a second look at our curriculum so that the health professionals who are coming out will see health as a business. Because if you see health as a business, then you see your client or the patient as your client. And in this case, you want to maintain your patient. But if you see health as a business, we think that at the end of the month, whether you work or not, you see a test match, pay, you get your money. Then you will not give out your best in maintaining the client. So I think that we also have a second look at our curriculum and see how best it can befit the modern trend.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I also share the same view with my colleagues. And then like the microbiologist said, I relate mine to veterinary medicine. Yeah, learning something outside the main course of veterinary medicine is very important. As a vet, you don't need only to be in the clinic to say that you are a vet. Looks like the training is tailored towards clinical work. You are a doctor. Not all doctors do surgery. But it looks like you think that somebody is doing surgery means, hey, he's a qualified vet. So the training should go beyond that. Because the knowledge of veterinary medicine is applied in so many fields. For example, because of ego, a vet wouldn't like to go and do some internship or so with the animal production department because he feels that, oh, I'm a vet. Not forgetting that most of the cases, the etiology may be of husbandry practice. We have metabolic diseases, so if you are not there, husbandry breakdowns can also lead to some. So once you are with the husbandry people, you get to know most of these things. So a vet can go outside that. Also, with the pharmaceutical industry where we are operating now as a private vet, at the end of the training, you see students going for attachments, even during the course of training. On no occasion, you see students coming from the schools being sent to private companies that are into this marketing. It's like to the lab, to whatever clinic. So it's like when you complete and you have no clinic to operate, it means you have nowhere to go. But you have to cut your mind wide. There are so many areas because the profession can be used at the borders, customs they need. So there should be that collaboration that, VSD and customs have some collaboration that have vets going to the ports, because all imports, meat and meat products, all those things, even though it's part of the training, but you don't see practically being involved at the port until they have completed the program. And it's like you said, you are there for the first time and you are found wanting. But if it's part of the training continuously, the vet comes out and becomes more competent in whichever area he finds himself. So I agree that we need to go outside the normal training and add all other things that are necessary. Entrepreneurship for veterinary, I think now is good. This is the era. We are not many, but many, because the animal population in Ghana is not too much. So if you want to restrict yourself to clinical work, sometimes if you don't take care, you'll be disappointed. So I think it's good to go beyond whatever you learn in school in other areas to exploit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Nkoma, please, we would want to know what informed your career choice. We realize that you have a master's in education, administrative work. And then we want to know, did practice get boring and why you diverted to that side of medicine?
Thank you for the question. Whilst working at the ward as a clinical nurse, and also later became a tutor and dealing with students at the clinical ward, I realized that some students have some difficulties in learning. And then also, some of the staff also were not well equipped in guidance and counseling, and therefore they were not in a better position to mentor students very well. So that motivated me to go into administration so that I'll be in a better position to mentor the staff in guidance and counseling so that they'll be in better position to also mentor students. And this will help them to become better clinicians, and they will be able to take care of our patients very well. So this motivated me so that could be a role model for them. And because if you are in administration, then I could know, oh, the students would need, I believe in quality education, and I will make sure I spend the money in that direction to get good and better students. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Kusiapia, this to you. Until now, having pets was a luxury. So in 1992, before that, what informed your decision to do veterinary medicine?
It's very interesting. Like you say, veterinary medicine in Ghana is not too old. The training started in Ghana, like we heard from the dean of the school, when the clip was shown. So virtually almost all vets before 2000 something were trained outside. I would say curiosity sent me to do veterinary medicine. My father was a butcher, right? Yes. And we used to go to the slaughterhouse before we go to school. And doing slaughtering, so many things were seen, and he was playing it in his own way. We could see a lot of, let me use that term, some worms or something, some creatures in the rumen of the small ruminants. Sometimes you see some cysts around the omentum area. And then when we ask, he says, oh, the animal is here to put on fat. That was the explanation he gave. But then I was curious to know what really this was going on. So when the chance came for me, the scholarship came, and I saw that there was a course of veterinary medicine, I decided to do veterinary medicine to know more about these things. And eventually all this came out to be parasites. So I now realize when I was doing parasitology, so wow, so we should have been dead by now, you know. So that is that. It was a difficult decision to take. What made it worse was when I was in the language school. We were in a class of about 20 mixed students from Portugal, Laos, Vietnam, those doing medicine, pharmacy, dentistry, veterinary medicine, all grouped together. And then the teachers baffled me. Andrew, are you good? Why are you doing veterinary medicine? So I said, hey, what is wrong? It means veterinary medicine is not something good that we should do or what. So I had a change of mind to do human medicine, but it didn't work. Until a senior colleague who was doing veterinary medicine visited language school. When I told him, he said, look, don't worry, I'm a vet. It's a good profession, and you'll make it one day. That calmed me down. So I went into veterinary medicine out of curiosity, and I must say, I haven't regretted. My daughter is in the final year of the School of Veterinary Medicine at Legon. Right. So it's not a bad profession. That is it. Thank you so much.
Mr. Japan. Hello, Mr. Japan. Okay, then I'll redirect my question to Dr. Safreji again. Is money a wrong reason to choose a career path?
What a question. the Bible says money is good. So it's a yes and no answer, I would say. The no is because I think that if money drives you, you may not even do the right thing, isn't it? You want to go the shortcut way to have it. I think that is the passion to help people, to be excellent at what you do, and to make an impact. The truth is that it doesn't matter which profession that you choose. If you do it right, the money will follow you. Basically that. But money is good. I like it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I wish we had more time to really continue this and digest some of the questions that we had here. I will ask the last question, and this goes to all the panelists. This is our final question. We are closing out. Now, the final question is that looking at the kind of life that you've lived, looking at the career development and progression up to this point, was it that you saw yourself here? You know, there's a lot of mantra there out in the world. If you can see it, you can do it. Did you, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, develop a plan and follow through? Now, I say this with all humility, understanding that we are in a low and middle income country or setting, and so opportunities may not necessarily be abundant. Did you see yourself here when you were beginning? If not, how did you get here? Like, what was the one thing that changed your life, that made you see that, okay, now I am going somewhere in life? And what would be your advice for the people who are here on how they can navigate their career path based on this?
All right. This one is personal to me. And I think when I was in third year medical school, Alex is here, I already had a company then. And I wrote a paper, which I still have, it's very brown now, that when I grow up, I want to have a hospital, an imaging center, a pharmacy chain. I still have that paper. I think that is just the passion that you want to excel. That is one. The next thing is you working towards that. Once it's in front of you, you make the right decisions. You do the hard work. And it comes to pass. I've had a very personal experience right from medical school when I wrote that paper. And I think that God has been good to me. I'm working the path gradually for all the ones that I want to do. So putting it out there what you want to do. Otherwise, things happen by chance to you. I think that we have the opportunity to craft our life. God gives us the opportunity to do. And I think that once you have the aim and you work towards it, somehow everything works around for it to happen. Thank you.
Yeah, for me, I would say, my interest was in the nursing profession because when I was young, immediately I finished school, I said, I had the passion to join the nursing profession because I visited a hospital and I saw a client I visited. They were from the north. That time they didn't understand what the baby or the child was suffering from, and then that of the mother. But after joining the profession, learning more about nursing, then I got to know that time the child was suffering from measles, and then the mother scabies. So that was my passion, to be with the sick. And I said to myself, oh, that goes side, but by the grace of God, I am not sick. So I felt, okay, I have to go into the profession and learn more about it to be able to take care of patients. At a point when I started, and as I indicated earlier, then I was also interested in imparting knowledge, teaching, helping students at the clinical side. I was trained to be a preceptor, helping students all the time, and then I felt, okay, let's move into the administration so that I'll be able to do more. So, yeah, that was my plan, and I'm happy. I love my profession. I'm happy I'm in it.
I think that I would summarize my life up to this point based on 5 things. A lot of the things I've been able to do has been because of the grace of God. Certain things have happened to me, and you just go for a meeting and you come out of the meeting with certain opportunities, and you know that you did absolutely nothing to get that. So the grace of God has always been great. However, I would also say that, first of all, I've always had a dream. Even when I did medical laboratory science, and when I was in second year, I put together a 20-year plan. And that 20-year plan, I broke it down to 5, 10, and all of that. And that plan, I had academic, professional, social, religious, and then financial goals. And surprisingly, when I was done, I think 2017, I went to review that plan. And although I wasn't looking at the plan every day, I realized I had achieved most of them, because at the back of my mind, I always knew that this was the direction I wanted to go to. So in 2017, I put together another 20-year plan. And so far, I'm trying to follow that up. So I think having that dream and putting it down is very important, because when you have that dream and then you write it, it becomes a direction for you. Once in a while, when you look at it, you're like, hey, I'm slacking. Everybody else thinks you're doing well, but per your plan, you know that you are not going far. Another very, very important thing is the network. I think we've spoken about it here, but network is very, very, very important. I have been blessed to have been handheld by so many people. Dr. Michael Owusu has been a wonderful mentor. He was just 1 year my senior in school, but he has been a wonderful mentor. He's given me a lot of opportunities. Prof. Phillips, actually, one of my, I met him when it was a conference on yours. My very first encounter with yours, and I told him about that. I went to his office to tell him about the impact he made on me when he did that presentation. And Professor Akodie, I don't want to leave people out, but generally I've been handheld along the line, and I think that has been very wonderful. A lot of students are afraid to approach professors and lecturers because they think about the gap. But I can bet you, a lot of people have actually, when they come and teach and they frown, don't worry. A lot of them are actually very, very open. When you approach somebody and you talk to the person, they are very, very, very open. And the opportunities that would be available for you will be because you've approached a lot of people. And then the last one, you can have all the grace in your life, you can have all the best plans, you can laminate it and do all of those things, you can have the best network. They would only get you into the door. Hard work would keep you there. I work extremely hard. Most people know that the time to get me, if you want to text me, is at 2 a.m. That is when I'll respond to most of your messages, because that is the time I work. I'll come and teach and do all of those things. Get home maybe around 8 p.m. Sleep around 11. I'm in the lab developing a test. Around 3, 4, I'm now going back to bed. Okay, so it is not just that you get all of these and by the grace of God you move ahead. You need to work extremely, extremely, extremely hard. And in my personal life, when I combine all of these, that is what has gotten me to where I am today. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I have changed my career path 3 times. So I'm not asking you to do the same thing. Yeah, 3 times. I'm hoping that the last one will be this one will be the end. I'm hoping, but it can change. Yeah. I mean, I started as a nutritionist, community nutritionist. And I did a lot of community-based nutrition programs in the northern part of the country. Especially if you talk about the 3 northern regions. I've taught a lot in all the 3 northern regions. I did a lot of work with UNICEF. I did a lot of work with leakages. I did a lot of work with World Vision, CRS, a lot in the northern part of the country. And that was my passion at that time. You know. Now, along the line, I had an opportunity to change job, but nobody should ask why I changed that job. Yeah, to change job as a project coordinator in a facility in Kumasi. Now, when I resumed this new responsibility, I was doing the same thing like I was doing in the North. I was coordinating their programs for them, writing for grants for them. And I remember we did a lot of work with Danida in the area of community health financing. We did a lot of work with National AIDS Control Program, Global Fund, Ghana AIDS Commission, a lot in HIV, the area of HIV, and other areas, community-based intervention. So, and I was also doing a lot of trainings. In the North, the same, community training, facilitating, organizing training, community trainings. Here to the same thing, training the hospital staff, training communities, those partners. Danida was working with in area system financing, we did a lot of trainings. So the boss I was working with at the hospital at then, every 6 months, much more, every 6 months, she was changing her hospital administrator on the basis of non-performance. She will employ somebody, 5 months, oh, this guy is not performing, he's sacked. 6 months, not performing, he's sacked. So one day I was there and she called me, Kofi, I've worked with you for so many years. I'm not getting anybody for hospital administrator. Can you help me? I'm stressed, I'm frustrated. Can we add up that responsibility to your project coordinator job? At that time I was young, energetic, and I was working 24 hours. But now I'm old now, so that strength is no more there. So I said, okay, madam, I will do that. So that moved me from the nutrition aspect, what I was doing, to as a hospital administrator. So I started as a hospital administrator. I was working. Along the line, some of the board members who used to be lecturers at the School of Public Health recommended to me that the way I'm doing the work is more than someone who is even having a formal qualification in hospital administration. Me, I had no qualification in hospital administration. So they recommended that then it's good to come and do MPH in health services planning and management. And that was the main reason I came to do MPH in health services planning and management. So that moved me from nutrition to hospital administration. Now, when I was doing this MPH in health services planning and management, the current Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor Alice Osidabo, he was my supervisor. He supervised me for my thesis. So he was just encouraging me, Kofi, with your industrial experience and all those things, and the way you have a lot, you've been teaching, lecturing, can't you think that, coming into academia will also be very impactful for you? So I thought of it. And along the line, I had an opportunity to go and do my PhD. So I went out there, 3 years, I was back with my PhD. And in the course of my PhD, those supervisors I work with, they were so lovely. They actually also strengthened my interest in the area of research. So when I came back, I said, no, then I have to join the university academia. And fortunately for me in joining the academia, those courses I teach, those are the things I was doing. So if I'm teaching, like I'm sharing my practical experience. So my students will tell, if I'm teaching you, you think that I'm telling you a story, but I'm teaching you. Yeah, so that is where I started, and that's where I ended as a researcher now.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I have a short history. Looking at where I came from to where I am now, what have made me today, in a nutshell, is hard work, honesty, and respect for human beings. When I returned from Bulgaria and I did my national service in Yendi, I compared the practice there to what I saw, I got a little bit disappointed. So I was posted to Yendi as a district veterinary officer. But by divine intervention, we had a 1-year stay at home before we were employed. And that's where I got a chance to work with Frankers Limited, a company that deals in veterinary pharmaceuticals. And I was employed as a salesperson, temporary. Having gotten there, I realized that at all conferences, when veterinary medicine, medical association is sending invitations for sponsorship, all the letters went to private vets who were doing well outside the profession. So I decided then there could be an opportunity for me to remain where I am. So one day I can do that. And I remember some of my colleagues told me I was crazy to forgo government business, government work, and go private. Don't you think you can be sacked one day? And I told them, the way I know myself, unless I leave voluntarily, nobody will sack me. Because I was committed to what I was there to do. I swept the floor myself because I was the only person there. Carried goods for elderly people who came to the shop. During farm visit, the illiterate farmers you deal with, the respect you give them, the honesty, sincerity that you show is what has driven me here. I remember a farmer I visited. He paid me. I took him to be a father, so every time he gives money, I don't even count. He owed me 12 million for my company. He put a black polythene bag and I wrote a receipt, 6 million. No, he has given me 2 CD notes, 6 bundles. I didn't check. The next morning, when I was paying my hotel bill, then I saw it. So I went back to the farm. He was staying on the farm with only his wife. Do you know what could have happened? I gave Dr. Apia 6 million. Where is my 6 million? I returned the money and he said, thank you. And I left. I did this work with this company for 14 years, working hard. Until people thought that I was even a shareholder, but I was doing my job. Eventually, when I felt I had the experience to go, I told my boss, I think I'm matured enough. So he asked me, what are you going to do? I said, the same work that I'm doing. I was frank, because he did the same thing. We parted on friendly notes, and I could visit them anytime. I'm saying this to tell you that wherever you find yourself, just do the best. Go with clean heart, clean mind, and definitely you'll be successful. After leaving, this man, whom I returned the money some years back, heard of it, and he called me. He has money. If I like, I should come for it and do business, because he trusts me. So integrity. That I told my friends that with that, I know I will stay put at Frank Castle until I decide to go, is what drove me to this point. I also looked at it from the other side, that, well, if I'm here and I'm done work hard, my family is a big family size. I'm number 9. We don't have elderly people. And like Okunko said, he hated everything of his father. I looked at my seniors, and then it's like financially, I decided not to be like that. So I will strive hard to earn genuine money. Any legitimate work that I think I will do that will make me successful, I will do. And this combination of characters, integrity, honesty, respect for people, and hard work has brought me this far. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a Hail Mary. Do we still have Anthony online on the Zoom?
Yeah, I'm here.
We would like to take our final submission from you.
Yeah, I think one of the things that has gotten me this far is my passion for what I'm doing. And I think I also want to throw it out there that once you are passionate for whatever you are doing, you never get tired. You don't even see what you are doing as work. And I think there's a saying that winners don't quit and quitters don't win. For every organization, for everything you do, you are going to encounter challenges. And I will always say that your passion for whatever you are doing should be more than the challenges that comes your way. So it means that you should have that intimacy with whatever you are doing, so that the challenges, even when they come, be something that will spur you on to solve the challenges and move on. One other key thing in the pharmaceutical industry is also integrity and honesty. People will come to your doorsteps ready to get you pharmaceutical products, and you have to be honest and honor your payment obligations. Because of that, almost every day, every week, we have people wanting to do business with us. And as importers and as wholesalers, and also at the retail chain business, it actually helps us getting quality and affordable products for our customers. Because of the demand for people wanting to supply us, we're able to negotiate for very good prices and perhaps pass on these prices to our customers. And if you're in the pharmaceutical industry, you realize that recently, and even before recently, prices are key indicators in the success of where a consumer will patronize his item. And at Pharmatrust, one of our slogans is quality and affordable medicines you can trust. And we do that with a high level of commitment, professionalism, ethics, and honesty. And the last speaker said something: respect for your customers, respect for your employees, respect for all your stakeholders in the business. It is something key that can drive a business far, 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 far forward. You never take anybody you meet for granted. That person has something unique, and that person deserves that highest level of respect. And I think when we're able to get a very good blend of this integrity, honesty, working with ethics, and having a passion for your vision, I believe you can surmount all challenges and keep on winning. And for me, there's also something that encourages me that I share with my team. It comes from this statement. They say, uneasy is the head that wears the crown. It means that if you want to wear the crown, it's not going to be easy. And if you are doing something which is very easy, then it means that the reward is normal, or the reward will not be extraordinary. So I think the listeners and the students out there, they should actually be ready to know that there is a challenge out there. But if you have passion for what you are doing, certainly is going to excel. And I think that is the main reason why most of the speakers out there are talking about hard work, hard work, hard. If you want to get something and excel in something, it's not going to be easy. Because we all are aware of the fact that they say uneasy is the head that wears the crown. So I think that is it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We've had a wonderful session. I think we can do better for the panelists. This has been good. When we started, I assured you that no matter where you are on the spectrum, there's something for you, even for those of you who are waiting to jump onto your big break. Hopefully, you'll be able to get the guidelines. Those of you who like to plan the future ahead, there's something for you. Those of you who show up and things happen, there's something for you. Those of you who like to switch up and change things as often as possible out of boredom or necessity, there's also something for you. We don't have a lot of time for questions, but the panelists may be available during the snack for interactions. We hope that you're able to approach them to ask for questions and not hassle them for any other form of. This is very important at this forum. So what we would do now is maybe stratify and see if there are submissions from faculty members or questions from faculty members. Then likewise the same from students. So very burning questions, contributions will be accepted, and after that we can do the follow-up questions and interactions during the snack break. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of the Director for the Kumasi Center for Collaborative Research in the person of Professor Richard Phillips. He's here. KCCR did a fantastic job during the COVID-19. People risked their lives, their time, resources to work, whereas the whole country was on break, staying away from the virus, and they had to sacrifice so much. Please, let's appreciate him one more time. Somebody shouted conflict of interest. All right, so questions. We start with the faculty. If anybody has a shared experience that they think the postgraduates may need, we are happy to. Prof. Newton.
Thank you very much. As the panelists were offering their very useful contributions, there was the issue about the conference which came up, and I felt I had to share this. It's about the issue of preparation and confidence. Preparation and confidence. Why do I say so? And I'll give you two very short stories which will let you know that it's very important to prepare before you go to these events. I remember about 20 years ago, as a young researcher, I was invited to attend a meeting in Lucenti in Florence. And when I looked at the list of people who had been invited, I was shaken. There were professors from Hopkins, Harvard, and top schools. And here was this young doctor, and I was invited to go and speak. So I said to myself, looking at this list, if I go there and I speak nonsense, they'll say, where is this guy coming from?
So straight away, I started preparing my presentation and speaking to people who were knowledgeable on the subject because I didn't want to make a fool of myself. Incidentally, at that time, I knew that he who knows not knows that he knows not is teachable, can be taught. But he who knows not and knows not that he knows not is a fool, shun him. And I didn't think I was a fool, so I really prepared. And when I went there and I saw that I was the only black person there, and there were top professors from all the big schools I could think of, I said, Sam, today is today. So I went and I gave my presentation, and they applauded me so much and even called my boss to say that young man was wonderful, but I had prepared. Otherwise, I would have made a fool of myself. The second opportunity I got was in 2010 when I was asked to debate one of the top professors from Johns Hopkins called Professor Keith West. When I was invited, I said, hey, Sam, you are going to debate this professor. And I was not even an academic then. I was just a researcher. So I said again, I'm going to prepare. So I went around talking to anybody I could talk to, academics and everybody, to make sure that I didn't make a fool of myself, because I never want to look like a fool. So I prepared, and it was in Cancun, in Mexico. Top scientists were there. And I debated him to the best of my abilities. It went so well, and at one stage, I had rebutted something which he said. So they asked Professor Keith West, what do you have to say about what Sam has said? Oh, it's okay. Because at that stage, we were not at par. We were not made. He was right up there. And at that stage, he didn't want to look like he was debating this young man. And I also knew my position. I wasn't there. I was only prepared, and that was all. So please make sure that whenever you are invited, do your homework. And the thing you should never lack is confidence. Speak with knowledge, and you'll prevail. Thank you.
That was a beautiful icing on the cake. Please, let's do it one more time for him. Prof. Sam Newton is the Dean for the School of Public Health here at KNUST. Please, I'll take one last submission from the faculty if there's anything available. I'm sure there are postgraduate students who like to enjoy anything. All right, so we move to the students. Any questions, comments? Please raise your hand. I'll select the people. Then, if it gets interesting, we will not invite you any longer. If you have a comment, a question, just keep your hand high up so that we will identify you. Whenever I stretch my hand, then more come. Please, if you have a question, you think, all right, so there's one, the ladies whose hand is up. There's two, Charles at the far back. There is three, the gentleman who is there. There is four, the gentleman who is by the wall. I see you, sir, burgundy with the thing on your neck. And that will be all. Thank you very much. So we can start from... They will ask all the questions or comments. Everything goes together at once. The panelists will take notes, and whoever is directed to will answer all at once.
Thank you very much. You inspire us a lot. I would like our panelists to shed more light on funding. Earlier on, Dr. Akohene talked about meeting investors at conferences, and Dr. Bassen also talked about grants, winning grants. Sometimes you would have identified a problem, thoughts of a solution. You may have even started in a small way to solve the problem, but you realize you need to expand because of the growing need, and you need capital. When you think of bank loans, you start getting palpitations. I would want to know what your experience has been in funding, maybe other things other than what has been talked about earlier on, or even more explanation on the grants and then meeting investors, and what worked for you. I would really like to know that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I forgot to mention, each person, one question. Please, as much as possible, try not to amalgamate the questions into one so that we can leave here. The snacks are ready. The next person, I think it's Charles.
Yeah, hello.
Yes.
I really like the panel selection.
Can you speak up a little bit?
Is the microphone or can it? Okay, is it okay now?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay, so I was saying I like the panel selection where we bridge industry and then academia. So my question is, I know that most of the panel are doing both. They are in industry and they are also in academia. Recently, there was this tweet that is going on that academia is not the good option in terms of stability and then future prospects. So I want to know from the panels that are here whether it's good to combine. And looking forward now, should we branch more into industry if you're looking at the Ghana economy and how it is going? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. The third question, comment. The gentleman. No. That's him.
Thank you. Please, I want to know, our speakers spoke a lot about being an employer. I want to know when to start. Is that the right time to start? And do you need to start big? That's what I want to know. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The last question, the gentleman to the far left.
Please, our panelists gave a very explicit exposition on the multidisciplinarity, and most of us here are enthusiastic in going outside the box, but the scheme of studies, that's a curriculum, is so tight that it's hard to find space for exploration. It's clear that the curriculum can't also exhaust all we need in our practice. So I'd like to ask if the system could be moderated in a way to create space for student exploration, or any other way you think might help students explore outside the box. Thank you.
So, Basing will handle the first question on grants. Doc, you will handle the question on combining industry and academia. What was the third question? The guy from the back, what was the question? The employers, yes. So you will handle the question on when to start employing people, whether to go big or not. And the last question, the exploration. I will ask both Madam and Sir to handle the last question. Your perspectives on the exploration. The last question. I can ask him to repeat the last question. So we start with Anthony.
All right. So your question, I was wondering whether you're looking for funding for a business or academia, because the business, right? Okay. Now, there are actually a lot of funding available for businesses, except that probably people do not know about them. The MasterCard Foundation, GIZ, and all of those ones have funding that are available. In fact, GEA, Ghana Enterprise Agency, currently they have about 4 or 5 different grants that are available. And the last time I met the head, she was complaining about the fact that people do not even apply. So they will say the closing date is 27th June, and then 27th June comes, and then it goes to 3rd July, and then they keep postponing until they decide that, okay, 5 people have applied, and those 5 people, we are giving the money to them. Okay, so I think that we can talk after this. I can give you a list of other things, but there's a website called opportunitydesk.org. It gives you so many opportunities, including funding, including scholarships, and all of those things. If you log onto the website and then you subscribe with your emails, they'll be sharing those things with you. And then if you qualify, apply. That is one of my mantras. Even if there are 1,000 opportunities, apply for all of them. They will bounce you 99%, but the one that you get, it will be enough money for you to start your business. Thank you very much.
Yeah, for the second question, I think that is my personal opinion. You don't need to work with the academic institution or a research institution at the same time with an industry before you can make it. Now, if you are a researcher, per your evidence, we generate the evidence to lead the industry, to make it available to the industry. But it's unfortunate that the industry we are working in isolation, which is rather unfortunate. So I think that per the evidence you will generate, you can make those evidence available to the industry, and whatever money you want, you can still get it from the industry. Let me cite an example. As it stands now, I do a lot of consultancy to different hospitals. So people will come to me, I want to start or establish a hospital. What should I do? You know, and taking you through the regulatory processes and that, and supporting you, the licensing and all that, because I have the links. You don't have, because those people who are in the realm of affairs, I have the links. So walking you through that and show you how you go about it and all those kind of things, it's not free consultants. You have to pay for it. 2, some hospital can come to me and tell me that my business is not doing well. What do I do? Meaning that I have to move into a facility to do diligence. And once I do diligence and come out with a proposal, the business strategy and all those things, how you can strengthen your internal control systems and all that kind of thing. I mean, it's consultants, you have to pay for that. You know, so I don't need to be there to be an internal auditor in the company for me to pay. And these are some of the services I can offer. And there are a lot, which I said we are doing to different facilities. So I think that, and one of the things which we are not always doing is that we always wait for that we want the industry to come to us. No, it should not be so. Sometimes we have to chase them, the industry. Once they get to know the value in you first, then later on they will start coming to you. But if they don't know the value in you, they will not come to you. So you have to chase them and tell them what you can do for them and what you can do to uplift their business. Once you're able to convince them and they give the opportunity, they've mentioned being honest, integrity, and fulfill that, and it works for them. Subsequently, they will be chasing you. So I think that we can play an active role as a researcher and further contribute to the industry, and we can still make it without working with the industry. Thank you.
The question on when to start hiring, should we go big?
Yes, okay. So I would say that starting small is golden. Now that gives you opportunity to learn. If you've never done business before and they put you before a large corporation, you will fail because you don't have any experience. But starting small is what you have to do. And what I also realize is that once you have the idea, so you have your idea, you put your idea up front, and then you write it down. Have a plan. So that's the first thing. The second thing is also looking within your own circle on how to start it. So usually you will not have much, but you can find monies within your own workspace, maybe from friends and family, and that is a very good point to start. I had an experience, and when I started off with my practice, the monies come in, and I was not putting it in the bank. So I thought I went to the bank, and I said, oh, I do well. Oh. I said, Dr. Frimpong, where is the evidence? So they told me, go and put everything within the bank. So I did. And a year after that, we qualified to buy our first CT scan. Basically, the documentation of what we do is very, very important. Saving towards it is very, very important. And making sure that your record keeping are there, and you can. The other thing I'll also add to what a gentleman, colleague here said, is that now there's a lot of funding for most of the ideas through venture funding. And so there's a way to do it. And now when you have a good idea, you don't even need money. Having a structure to put it together in what is called a pitch, you can have people fund your idea in what is called a series funding, which is now trending very well all over the world. Within the last 1 year, Africa, I think, did over about $7 billion in venture funding from people's ideas. So that is something that we should, all the projects that you are doing, I'm sure there's a seed in that somebody can fund, even from zilch. So we should look at that and document what we have very well. There's always an idea to somebody will be interested to fund you. Thank you.
Thank you. The fourth question was on, we are advocating for multidisciplinary approach, but the curriculum is very strict, and so how do we explore?
Thank you for the question. I would say that what is key or what we need to do is to plan our time well, time management. Because if you plan your time well, you'll be able to have time for your studies and then time for your assignments. Then you have the opportunity to learn other things whilst you are here, attend other seminars, and then acquire other skills. Yesterday, I was busy moderating a session, just like you, with Ahafu Chiefs, Nimont, the company, on Galamsey, very sensitive topic. Beginning, it wasn't easy. There was some mistrust. But I was able to manage the group, and we came up with some workable solutions. I'm a nurse midwife, practitioner, but I've done mediation course. I'm also a member of the Ahafo Regional Peace Council. So if I had not done all these courses, would I be able to do this and wear different hats? It is important. Let's have time management as a key, and we'll be able to do other multitasks we are supposed to do. Thank you.
Please, let's give it up for them. And this brings us to the end of the session. My co-moderator will take over from here.
So we have something for our panelists, and so okay. All right, so we would like to call on Prophet Jari to do our first presentation. Please give it up for him. So the first presentation goes to Dr. Kofi Akohe-Mensah from the College of Health Science. KNUST appreciates you for being a panel member at the Maiden Postgraduate Conference. Thank you. Thank you very much, Prof. We would like to call on Prof. Deborah for our second presentation. Please clap for him. So, Prof, please can I have it? Our second presentation goes to Madam Monica Nkrumah. We appreciate you for being a panel member. Thank you. Prof, please, you can have your seat. So we would like to call on Prof. Newton for our third presentation, which goes to Dr. Lord Basin. Thank you for being a panel member. Thank you. We'd like to call on Prof. Phillips for our fourth presentation, which goes to Dr. Asafweje Frimpong. Thank you for being part of our panel members. We appreciate you. So we'd like to call Dr. Alex Ofori for the last presentation. Which is also going to Dr. Kusiapia. Thank you so much for being with us today. Our last one goes to Mr. Anthony Ejapon, who joined us on our Zoom. Thank you so much for being part of us. And thank you, students and our senior members, for a wonderful day. Thank you.
So one last time, let's appreciate our panelists as they take up their seats. So thank you very much. We appreciate you. Oh, please, let's keep doing it so that's not awkward. Sorry we make you keep clapping. We find that some between the awkward silence makes it very easy for us. At this time, we would like to invite one of the companies that supported this conference, made sure that all the logistics and funding that is required to put this together to have you benefit, especially from the panelists, is duly acknowledged and given the opportunity to speak with us. So without much ado, I'd like to invite Spectra. Please let's meet them with a resounding applause. The CEO of the company also happens to be one of our panelists. You never know. So if he doesn't see you clap, you see what I mean?
Thank you very much. I enjoyed the morning. I hope you did as well. So I'll make it brief. I'm supposed to speak just for 10 minutes, and I'll try and go through this quickly. COVID came with a lot of sorrow, a lot of death, and a lot of economic downturn we are even experiencing now. But it also came with some innovation. And for the healthcare, what we are seeing and which is doing well is going to be our future is in a region of telemedicine. The company that is a world leader in telemedicine is in the US. It's called Teladoc. They had their telemedicine platform in 2004. It was dormant until COVID struck, and now it's a multi-billion company in the world because that is the future that we are going to experience. Like Uber, Airbnb, we also have our own that is facilitating care across the globe. There are few telemedicine platforms in Ghana, and Spectra this is just about to launch, but this is an initial preview to what we are going to do. Next. So basically, our traditional way of meeting with our doctor, you go to the doctor, you wait in line, you get seen, you go to the lab, come back later to see the doctor in a review. Now, this has changed. There's continued to change within the period. I'm sure in another 5 years, our encounter with doctors will be more on our electronic platforms rather than face-to-face. If you have to go to a doctor, that will be when you have to have a procedure to be done. But for general consultation, initial triaging, this is the way to go. Next. Next. So basically, on the platform, which works on our mobile phones as well as on the web, you can have access to have video consultation for the cases and the complaints that you have. This can be done through texting or video consultation. And what is popular is the video consultation because it gets more personalized. Initially, telemedicine was used for mental health. And the reason is that usually you will not require any vitals to be taken in most mental health applications, consultations. However, technology has improved. And so when we decided to set this one up, I just thought, if I go to a doctor and the doctor sees me virtually, he's missing on vitals like my temperature, my oxygen, my breathing, stuff like that. So there was a gap. But the technology has come where you can have almost complete evaluation remotely. So for this one, we have the virtual consultations by video. We have the teletherapy where mental health is key, as well as you can do e-prescriptions, requests for labs and imaging online, as well as do what we call remote patient monitoring. So if you are hypertensive, usually you go to a doctor, he checks your BP, you have high BP, and then he tells you, take this medicine, come back in 3 months or 6 months when it's finished. Traditionally, patients go home and they never get their BP checked until the next visit. And we are seeing a lot of strokes because compliance is low. Now, with this platform that we have, it improves significantly on compliance for diabetes, hypertension, or any other chronic disease that we have. And I will explain. So basically, the telemedicine benefits, what I've listed there, convenience. So instead of you traveling and wasting time in traffic, going to wait for the doctor, you can have the doctor meet you at your home on your laptop or on your phone in your convenient time. It's cost saving because you save time traveling and it's efficient. And above all, as I said, it's very compliant because the patient is part of the treatment process. We started not too long ago, and I realized that that's going to be the future, and so we wanted to be there before it starts within our country space. And that's why we are working at it now. Now, the solutions that we have, as I said, there is a gap, and there will be a gap if you are just being seen by your doctor remotely without the benefits of physical examination. I would not like that so much. Of course, it's helpful for triaging, but to have a complete evaluation, you may get it wrong. So there are these devices that are embedded within our platform. The first one we have, before I go there, I'll just go through the platform, what we do. There's a chronic disease management, remote monitoring of disease, urgent care, integrated devices for mental health. For the device that is integrated within the app platform, we have a 6-in-1 device. Now, what this does is that it's able to check your blood pressure, your blood sugar, oxygen saturation, your temperature, heart rate, as well as even do an ECG. So what it means is that before a doctor sees you, all these vitals are captured, and the evaluation is almost complete. And we also try to make it even more complete by to show you, I think some of this. Okay, good. So this one. So we have digital stethoscopes. So the patient gets this digital stethoscope, which is the one on the far right, and you can listen to the heart and the lungs and even the abdomen and make diagnosis of heart abnormalities, pneumonias, as well as even if you have a bowel obstruction. The other device here is a digital otoscope that allows you to evaluate for ear infections, throat infections, And it's able to take very good images of the skin. So dermatology, you can actually do very well on that. What it means is that you can have almost complete evaluation in about 90% of the cases. So it comes in very handy. Compliance is good. The device here I'm showing on the left is wireless. It just connects by Bluetooth. Once you measure the blood pressure, it populates. The other advantage is that over a period, you can have trends. So the patient measures the blood pressure this month, next week, the following week. Over a period, the physician looks at it, is able to make good judgment as how you are doing. So that is a plus. In addition, when the doctor sets a parameter for control, so let's say the doctor says that your BP should not go more than 140/90. Anytime it exceeds, the physician gets an alert, you, the patient, gets an alert, and you can use text or video consultation to now find out what went wrong and how it could be monitored. As part of our penetration within the market, we are looking at these segments. So when we launch, you will know where to find it. You can have the device yourself, or you can download the app as well. But we'll be working with the pharmacies where if you go to the pharmacy, you can have access to the device, have access to a doctor before you buy your prescription. That's the chief doctor pharmacy written there. We're also working with the district hospitals to break the specialist gap. So for district hospitals where there are not enough specialists, we create a hub in there where the patients can check in together with the nurses within the practice and have access. For example, we have just about 40 psychiatrists in the whole country of over 33 million. That is a huge gap. And that I'm sure we'll be filling with this practice. We're also working with the schools. We all been in the secondary school before. Every day a child gets sick. A lot of the time is seen by nurses, which is good. But for some cases, definitely will require a doctor to make a decision in terms of triaging. So we are working with them. And of course, the corporate solutions, they are very, very much interested in having this one. So we'll be coming to you shortly in this regard. So what do we have? We have the device, which I encourage, actually one per family of 6. So once you buy, it's not just you. You can share with your family on the same platform. And the consultations are usually either transactional, that is when you are sick just once, and then you see a doctor, your prescriptions are done, your labs are reviewed. And of course, what I like most is the remote monitoring plan because of compliance. So you can sign up on some of these plans, whether depending on your disease spectrum, have your doctor or team of specialists monitor you, whether dietitians or doctors or physicians or surgeons. You can have all that. In the particular plan, you can have about 20 texts a month. We want to limit it, otherwise the doctors will be inundated. And then you can have a video consultation every quarter. If you need an urgent call too, that could also be allowed. So I'll end it here. I think that our time is not so much, but you can download the app on both the Android and the iOS platform, the Spectra.care, and have get to experience it. The device is here. I think I can show you how it looks like. So it's a very small device, actually. So practically, that is just that. And it does all those parameters, monitors them, and everything is secure. One thing good about this is that your data is protected, and you can have it with you all the time. In certain jurisdictions, you can just even have to subscribe for an EHR platform where your data, your health data sits with you. This one comes in already integrated. So I encourage all of us to log on, Spectra.care, and I'm sure it's going to impact positively on our lives, particularly our parents who may not have time to go to the hospital much. You can do the screening, and for all these penetration of the market that we want to do, we'll be coming to you for your support as well. Thank you very much.
Oh, yes, please. Please, do we have any questions for him concerning telemedicine? All right. Then you can engage him during our snack breaks with your questions. Thank you very much, Doctor. So next on our program, we'll be taking our vote of thanks. But before that, we have a few announcements. We ask that the students do their biometric registration for your second day. The 2 days registration guarantees your certificate. And then awards will also be given for the students that presented their poster cards. So during the snack break, please make sure to stand by your posters. And then also participants will have to give their coupons for the snacks. And then we realized from yesterday that we are leaving our empty plastics on the tables. Please find a bin and put them in. Kindly do that for us. And then there will also be a seminar at 2 p.m. for the at the college boardroom. So we would like to invite Miss. We'd like to invite Ms. Barbara Japon Kosa for the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, Abuna, and thank you for the wonderful and amazing job done today. So, I'm here for a very simple mission, and then I wish our provost was here, but even though not here, I'll kindly permit our faculty members to grant me the permission to ride on already established protocols and then proceed. I have it. Thank you very much, Prof. Chair. So, on behalf of the conference organizing committee, we would like to express our deepest appreciation to all of us who have made this conference a very successful one. So, I stand before you this morning, and then as a member of the committee, express my heartfelt gratitude and extend a sincere vote of thanks as we bring the panel discussion this moment to a close. We will agree, or all of us can attest to the fact that it's been an amazing experience, and we are all taking home something, just as Tony said. Wherever spectrum you find yourself, at least you've gathered one or two with you, it serves as a very positive take-home message for you. So first and foremost, we would like to express our deepest appreciation to God Almighty for sparing us this time and seeing us through and bringing us this far. To him be all the glory. To our provost and then the able-bodied lieutenants. We have our HODs here, our deans, our faculty members who have stuck with us throughout this period. To our esteemed panelists, I would want to pause here so that I kindly and humbly invite all of us to be upstanding and give a resounding applause to them because they have really done well. Thank you very much. You can have your seats. We are most grateful, our distinguished panelists, for all that you have done to bring us to this very insightful panel discussion, and a thought-provoking one as it is. And then it's also been instrumental in shaping our thinking when it comes to postgraduate education. It has also helped us to relive our theme for the conference as well. We also want to express our sincere thanks to the organizers of this committee, of the conference, for their tireless efforts. It's been a marathon, but we thank God for how far he has brought us. And to our faculty and staff members and the support staff, what more can we say? We are most grateful for all that you have done in diverse ways, working behind the scenes and then putting all this conference together and then bringing us this far. To our cherished postgraduate students, I wish you could clap for yourselves. You have done amazing. In fact, when we started this, we were not sure whether you people will turn up or not. But you have been wonderful. With past experiences, I think this has been truly amazing and wonderful. And thank you very much for showing up. Without you, there wouldn't have been any postgraduate conference. And a special mention must also be made to the technical team who have been working behind the scenes. The support staff, the ushers, the cleaners who made sure the mess we made yesterday, they cleared it all up, and then we had a very beautiful environment to continue our sessions. And everybody, maybe we forgot to mention your name, but then you are all deeply appreciated. Okay. And then, in conclusion, I will say, once again, to our panelists, to the organizers, faculty members, staff, participants, and everyone that supported us, we acknowledge everything that you have done for us, and we pray that God will continue to bless you, and then we wish you all every success in your continued endeavors. Thank you very much, and God bless us all.
Thank you so much, Ms. Barbara. Please, after the snack break, we'll be having our oral presentations. On this note, I'll call Reverend Mrs. Laurie Salah to give us our closing prayer. Please give it a point.
We started off with a prayer. May we end with a prayer. Kindly be on your feet. Thank you. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for another morning with colleagues and students in different fields with awesome experiences. Thank you for insights and foresights gained through this conference as we plan for the future in our career paths. We yet still commit the rest of the day into your hands. As we leave at the end of the day, keep our minds open to the possibilities of growth. We pray for traveling mercies and safety as we leave at the close of this conference. We glorify your name. We honor you. Thank you for an answered prayer in Jesus' name. Long live the College of Health Sciences. Long live KNUST. Thank you.
And please, we can all go up for our snack break. It's only going to be for 20 minutes. Then we have to come down for our oral presentation. So let's be snappy about it.
For us to be able to fast track the production of veterinary doctors in Ghana.
Hello. Please take note of this. Yesterday, most of the time you finish your snack or lunch and then leave it on the table, and that was causing a lot of problems. So please, if you take your snack and you eat, please, there are dustbins up there. Please clear your table and drop your things into the rubbish bin. Thank you.
Please, students, can you wait for the dignitaries to leave before you leave?